This family from southeastern Oklahoma fell on hard times in the 1930s. They were spotted by a famed photographer, Dorothea Lange, walking from Idabel, Oklahoma to Krebs, Oklahoma, a distance of over 120 miles. They'd been farming on thirds and fourths at Eagletown, Oklahoma. This would mean that they were either sharecroppers or tenant farmers, where they were required to give a portion of what they grew to the landowner. They would typically give a third of their grain crops and a fourth of their cotton crop to the landowner. Unfortunately, the father had become sick with pneumonia and the family had lost their farm. He then tried to get work with the WPA, Works Progress Administration, but to no avail. He had moved to another county for a short time after him losing the farm, so the local WPA didn't consider him a resident at the time. The 1930s were an especially difficult time for folks in Oklahoma and Texas. Not only did they suffer from the Great Depression, but they also had the Dust Bowl to contend with. This family most likely heard there was work up in Krebs, and the only way they had to get there was to walk. Notice the mom and the two kids didn't have shoes to wear. That was common in those days, but imagine walking that many miles without them. Such few possessions shows their predicament. Back in that day, people were often willing to help those in need, even if they were suffering themselves. I sure hope they were given rides and food along the way, and that they found steady work wherever they wound up. As Lane traveled further west to Carter County, Oklahoma in June of 1937, she stopped to photograph this home of a tenant farmer. Much like the family we just saw, it looks like the Depression and the Dust Bowl is taking its toll here. Makes you wonder if this family held on to this farm, or if conditions at the time forced them to give it up and become day laborers. Or maybe they took their chances by heading out west to places like California, hoping to have a brighter future. During the decade of the Great Depression, Oklahoma's population dropped by a staggered 440,000 people, many moving on out in desperation in hope that they'd be able to feed their family. As we take a closer look at the porch, we see that they're making do in many ways. The porch foundation is down to a stack of single bricks and look like the gate post is wanting to fall over. So they tethered it to the other side across the top to make it work for the time being. And notice the bed there on the porch. It was common in these days for folks to sleep on the porch to take advantage of the cooler night air. A good night's rest could sure help them make it through all the hardships they faced during this time. As I took a good look at the photo, something at the bottom left caught my eye. With all the difficult things they were facing, they still took time to find joy in the little things. Take a look at this homemade flower pot. I'm betting that it made the family smile a little as they passed by it each day. Speaking of finding joy, let's head over and check out these day laborers outside the neighboring town, also in Carter County. Looks like these two characters probably shared a lot of laughs during their long and hot workday. They may have found joy in the simple fact that they had work for the day, no matter how tiring it was. And it looks like the boys working beside them were healthy and well taken care of, given the times that they were living in. Zooming in on the boy to the left, you can see the flyers coming up out of the back of his overalls. Something tells me that grin on the older man might very well be because he just shoved them down the back of the boy's overalls right before the photo was snapped. No doubt, people told stories about this fellow for years to come. I bet he kept people laughing and made those long, hard days go by faster. Continuing another 200 miles west that same June, just across the state line into the Panhandle of Texas, was this eye-catching home with a makeshift billboard on the roof. The farm owner provided this house for one of his tractor drivers to live in. The driver was paid $1 a day and worked 10 to 11 and a half hours each day and was also given a cow to milk. He had a wife and 2 young children at the time. Those were long, hard days, but he was lucky to have steady work and some provisions. Looks like his clothes were holding up okay, but he didn't have socks to wear. You can see the toll that all day in the sun has taken on his skin in those hot and dry conditions. He must have had quite a bit of perseverance and drive to provide for his family. That $1 a day would be equivalent to a wage of about $2 per hour today. They also have a mattress out on the porch, but it looks like a bed frame wasn't in the budget. The farm owner didn't want to have to put a tractor to work because it took work away from people who desperately needed it during such a rough time. He said he had out longer than most, but he finally had to give in once he got $700 behind on his taxes. That's equal to about $16,000 in today's money. Maybe these families were able to weather the difficult time and life got easier in the coming years. I sure hope so. If you enjoy these old pictures and stories behind them like we do, give us a like and a share and consider subscribing. It sure helps us out. If you have an area of the country that you'd like us to explore on the channel, comment where. We'll see what we can do. Thanks for watching. God bless y'all.